Today on the Leadership Vision podcast, we're exploring a short story with a surprisingly powerful lesson. In this episode, Brian and Linda share a classic Zen parable that came up during a coaching conversation with a client. It's a simple story about two traveling monks, a difficult moment, and a question that lingers long after the moment has passed. What are we still carrying that we should have set down? Now together, Linda, Brian, and I reflect on what the story reveals about leadership, relationships, and the habits of mind that shape how we respond to challenges. Along the way, we explore the different characters in the story and how we might see parts of ourselves in each one of them. Now, this is a short story with a link in the bio, but it opens the door to a deeper conversation about letting go, perspective, and the journeys that we share with others. My name is Nathan Freeberg. This is the Leadership Vision podcast. Enjoy.
I was in a one-to-one conversation with a client of ours, and as the conversation was ending, I'm not even sure how we got here. And he simply ended with this story. He told me a story. I think what I asked him was, how would you summarize this hour-long conversation? And he said, I think the lesson that I learned about myself today comes from a story that I read to my children. Oh. And he then recited this story that he reads to his children over and over and over again. And for him, it was a statement of the challenge that he has as a senior level leader who really desires to grow. And it hit me so strongly that I not only had to buy the book, but I've not forgotten about this parable.
Can you read this? Linda, can you tell us what this is?
Oh, Nathan, I would love to read this. It's a version of a classic Zen story. It's about letting go. It is about transformation. It is a story that has just stuck with Brian and me. It's from a children's book author named John J. Muth, and it's from a book called Zen Shorts. Here's the story. Two traveling monks reached a town where there was a young woman waiting to step out of her sedan chair. The rains had made deep puddles, and she couldn't step across without spoiling her silken robes. She stood there, looking very cross and impatient. She was scolding her attendants. They had nowhere to place the packages they held for her, so they couldn't help her across the puddle. The younger monk noticed the woman, said nothing, and walked by. The older monk quickly picked her up, put her on his back, transported her across the water, and put her down on the other side. She didn't thank the older monk. She just showed him out the way and departed. As they continued on their way, the young monk was brooding and preoccupied. After several hours, unable to hold his silence, he spoke out. That woman back there was very selfish and rude, but you picked her up on your back and carried her. Then she didn't even say thank you. I set the woman down hours ago, the older monk replied. Why are you still carrying her?
My first thought is this idea of, you can only control yourself, right? It's kind of the Stoic philosophy idea. And you need to do the right thing no matter what, kind of. And if someone doesn't do the right thing back, you can't let that bother you. You can't let that, like apparently this younger monk, like ruin your life, ruin a few hours. But man, is it hard to do that.
What gets my attention in this story, number one, is the simplicity of it. It's a simple story. It is a very short story. And there's only a few characters in the story.
Yeah.
And so I first heard the story, I saw myself in several different characters. And so one of the first questions that I often wonder is, which character captures your attention and why? And allowing your mind to really be open to connect with any one of the characters there, the wise monk, the young monk, the princess, maybe even the servants that are trying to figure out like what to do next. And I think that each of those characters has some type of attitude that is represented. And sometimes those attitudes are aspirational for ourselves. And we may think too lowly of ourselves that we may not be as wise as the old monk, or maybe we have some type of experience that is influencing us to not believe that we may sound like the younger monk, and how the younger monk is carrying things with him. And oftentimes, I must admit that I oftentimes hear myself sounding a lot like the princess, where
Was that allowed?
I'm afraid to get my shoes dirty, and who's going to carry my stuff, and things like that. And so I would just like to maybe invite us all to think about which of the characters represents us right now.
And they're a mix of all. It really is. I think if we're really honest, we have all of those characters inside of us. I think there are things that we carry for different reasons. Maybe it's a sense of justice. Maybe it is a sense of entitlement. Maybe it is a sense of, well, that's what leaders do. They carry things. And I can imagine the young monk just exploding, and the tenderness of the response of the older monk, and the... Listen, I just carried her for a hot second. Why
Why are you? What's the deal, guy?
why are you still carrying her hours later? And for me, as I'm listening to people, sometimes story, sometimes allegory really helps me listen to people in new ways, have compassion on them, and invite them into both the reflection process as well as taking actions that are a little bit different.
Nathan, what's interesting about this story is that the wise monk and the young monk made their way around this body of water
Without getting wet.
They continued, and the princess saw it as some insurmountable, impassable obstacle, and her perspective influenced her servants and what they were tasked to do. So that, like, limiting belief or expansive belief that this challenge is actually larger than what is actually there. In the parable, there's no indication that the two monks turned around. The intonation is that they kept going forward. So there was a way around.
Yeah.
And when I read this, there are so many people that I know that are that princess, where they are over amplifying the issue, and it creates a sense of impassibility to everybody else.
Yeah.
When there actually is a way around. And right now, I feel that there are many times I feel like I'm just sitting next to this puddle with my chin in my hands, thinking, I don't even know how to get around this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to let go, what to whatever.
See, I must read it a little differently, where she looked at it and she's like, I'm above walking through this. Like, I'm too fancy. I'm too high of my station to do this. Like, I don't know if it was a hard problem, but she just was like, oh, we don't do that. We don't stoop to that level.
And we just assume that if I'm in a car, then someone will just automatically get me to the other side.
Exactly.
And so to live with that kind of entitlement and
it's not a good...
without gratitude.
Yeah. How do I ask this? How do all of us know maybe the difference between, I just need to let that go, versus, no, I need to sit with this and kind of process it and possibly take action? Is there an easy? Why are you laughing so hard?
Because that's just how, not just, because you show up that way most of the time. Like, I need to wrestle with this even more. Like in this story, Nathan, you are the servants, guys, to me. Like, you're just like, whoa, what's the depth of the puddle? Well, how many times do we have to get this? Like, can we take apart the carriage?
I overanalyze things?
And can we, like, make a bridge? Do we take this apart? Like, do we really need to bring her with?
See?
So,
these are all important questions.
I'm sorry, I lost complete track of what you were asking.
Well, say more about that. Why are you laughing so hard?
I think your response, Nathan, is typical of how I know you to respond.
Meaning?
I need, like, do I think with this? Should I think even longer about this? And in my life, I think why I'm laughing is I'm also laughing at myself, because I'm trying to let as much go as possible. I'm just in that stage. Or I'm wrestling through a lot of things, and in my mind, I keep saying, let it go, just let it go. And there's so many practices that I have in place right now that are helping me let go of and just fill in the blank. So that being said, what stands out to me is that there's a journey This parable is about a journey. And I'm fascinated by the relationship between the wise monk and the young monk, that even after this event happened, they still continued on their journey together. There's a companionship and a partnership to this story that I really like. Even with the princess and who's there supporting her, there's a relationship there as well. So in life, there are so many different ways that we can see our relationships with other people. And I believe that the invitation here is for us to really understand how we are in all the characters, what types of journeys that we're on, and to recognize that life continues to unfold before us, and our invitation is to continue to move forward in our journeys.
Yeah, I think my takeaway from that is that you're old.
Okay.
So are you, Joker.
The older monk with that experience to be like that. So, yeah, I think the final takeaway as I'm thinking about this is just thinking more, again, about what are those things to let go? What are those things to just be like, not worth it, set it down. So thank you for that, Linda and Brian. But Linda for reading and Brian for sharing that after your client. So
Shout out to the lovely leader that we're working with that has helped us extend the message of having the courage to look at our lives differently.
And how he's shaping his team.
I know he's shaping his children. It's clear he's shaping his team and his organization. And I think we can all do a little more introspection and take a little more action.
I'll put a link to this in the show notes. And thank you, listeners, for listening to the Leadership Vision podcast, our show helping you build positive team culture. My name is Nathan Freeberg.
I'm Linda Schubring.
And I'm Brian Schubring.
And on behalf of our entire team, thanks for
for
listening.
listening.